Yes, how's everybody doing today? Um, Hopefully we get a good result. While I wait for other members of the panel, I think I'm better off getting started with you guys in the chat. And thank you very much for finding time to be here. Declan, my brother, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Self?
Declan, can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I coming through?
Just one moment. Let me find something here. Right. You guys can go ahead because we're live. I'm just looking for something here to get properly situated.
I look like Josh now, just relaxed, lack of sleep.
Yeah, man. I started vacation today,
You
so
go.
I'm just hanging out and trying to enjoy a little bit of time off.
Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yo,
Yeah,
man,
bro.
look at this guy's suit, man. Easy,
Hear me?
Coachella. Easy.
What
The
is
hat?
the problem? You guys can go
Hello,
ahead. I'll
man.
fix my stuff and then join you guys back on.
What do you
Coach
mean
with
fix
the-
your stuff? You look
What
fine,
the
man.
issue is.
Coach with the humble brag avatar.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
Oh, we're good. But I couldn't hear you guys, so that was the issue. I don't know. Is the lineup out? How's everyone doing today?
Yeah, lineup's out.
Yeah, lineup's out.
Is it?
Doing
I've
well.
been checking. It's not
Yeah,
on
it's
this
a
side,
bit
though.
light.
It's official now. It's been released.
Oh,
keep
okay, one
refreshing
second.
This side. I mean the Twitter.
Okay, let me see if it is the same as what I have here. Is it the same, or do I have to make some changes here?
Yeah, there's a
I
couple
think
of
the exact
changes.
same lineup.
Just have to change Jorginho for Loftus-Cheek and Chaloba for Christensen.
Chalobah for Christensen, it's there. Silva in the center still.
No. Chaloba's starting.
Yeah, Chaloba's for Christensen and George for Loftus-Cheek. Unfortunately.
Chalobah, and then Jorginho for Loftus-Cheek.
Yep.
Sorry, did I hear you, Josh? Did you say Jorginho for Loftus-Cheek?
Yes.
Wow.
Sadly.
Wow.
I mean,
and every other thing is correct, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of thinking that it would be you spelled Jorginho wrong. Jorginho. But I was kind of thinking it was going to be
Georgie boy.
Ruben just based on the fact that Jorginho had cramp, but I essentially had the exact same lineup until I remembered that he had that injury. Then I switched mine to RLC, but apparently it's not that serious then if he's playing him. You know?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, this was what I picked this yesterday on Sadiq's stream. Except I had AC in the middle and I had Loftus in the pivot. I'm a little. I don't know what's going on with AC. This is 2 games in a row now where he's on the bench.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's not like he's injured.
No.
Well, I think that it's performances, right? Like Chaloba has played some really, really good matches for us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't argue with. He's been really, really good. I mean, honestly, all 4 of our center backs, I think, have been good. I haven't seen anything to really fault Christensen either. But I mean, Chala has been very, very good when he's played this year.
I mean, I have no doubt there's going to be a lot of games in December where we're going to see a lot of rotation and whatnot. But I mean, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. We're keeping clean sheets. You know, that weekend game and the communication on the pitch right now is very good. You know, you have a leader in Silva at the back, you have a leader in Jorginho in the midfield, and then, you know, unfortunately our strikers aren't necessarily, they're young. You know, that's kind of how I see it. We got a real young.
Here's the thing. I think maybe Chaloba's inclusion may have been because of his pace to help deal with Juventus on the flanks, especially on the right hand side. But anyway, I don't think, if you ask me, I'd argue that everything doesn't seem all right with AC not starting for how many games now. And like we've established, it's not like he's injured or something. But that's, by the way, what do you guys think about the lineup overall?
What about Aspie? Like, Aspie hasn't played in, it feels like, months.
Exactly, that's another point again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just think Asby's just low in the pecking order, man, right now. I mean, you can't drop him for James. James is playing out of his mind, and he's probably the third best center back on that right-hand side right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's just a matter of depth chart and squad depth right now. It's keeping him on the bench because, I mean, I can't. There's nobody I would play him ahead of, to be honest with you. There's
James start, but since we've talked about the importance of rotating the team because players don't get tired out. This is 3 games in a row now, or even 4 that James is starting with Aspie on the bench. So,
he's so important to what we do, though, right? Like, I'm a firm believer that our wingbacks are the way we're using them currently, like inverted, getting in the box. Auxiliary wingers is a lot. Like, that's not Azpilicueta's strong suit. Like, he's a defensive wingback at best, and he's not used. We already have enough a full complement of center backs where he's not going to be reused there. He's basically the backup to Reece James right now.
Yeah,
basically,
no question.
So
I think you've seen when he plays, the look of the team is so much different. I mean, it's just when Asby is at wing back, it just really hinders what we do.
Yeah, but defensively we're sound whenever he's on the pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's hard to argue. But James is also very good defensively. It's one of those things like. I mean, it's hard to argue with how we've been playing. We've been playing really well, keeping clean sheets and scoring a lot of goals. So I think right now you're just running into problems of squad depth and guys in form. You don't want to put them on the bench when they're playing really well.
Right.
Yeah. Declan, what do you think overall about the lineup? You good with it?
Yeah. You don't have much choice. I was going to quickly say I got a little bit of a different view on Christensen and Aspie and stuff. I think there's an element of where we don't have massive depth in some areas. So when you look at in the middle of the defense, we only really play Christensen and Silva, and we don't really trust the other defenders that we have any options for. So I think he doesn't want to risk some of those players. Same with Aspie. So if we lose Silva and Christensen, or James and Aspie, I think that's where big holes come in. We don't have players to fill those 2 spots. Same with Chile and Alonso. So I think he doesn't want to overdo it with some of the backup players to make sure the rotation isn't massive. But as every other position, you can rotate how many times you want. And I think that plays a part. I think that's why Christian doesn't play a lot, and that's probably why Aspie's being a nice bit as well. But
no,
when you look at the bench, how funny is it? Yeah. Mount, Lukaku, Werner.
Yeah. Like that was the front 3 that a lot of people wanted at the beginning of the year.
Okay,
so since
our attention is in the front 3, let's start there. Mount is on the bench. Is he on the bench? I haven't seen the lineup from my application.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about the front 3? And look at this. The comment on the screen. It says excited to see this attacking 3 play. Cho is a threat to watch in his preferred role. So what do you guys think? Is that the best we could do with that front 3 there? Because you could argue clearly no industry in the absence of Mount. Our pressing from the front is lessened to almost, you could say, 80%. What do you guys think about that? Not having Mount in that front 3.
Yeah, but you got Kante and Jorginho. You got workers all over the pitch. Yeah, I think. And like, how much do you really think they're going to be in possession of the ball a lot? I think we're going to be probably getting like 65-70%. They're definitely going to camp out. There's no way they're going to be looking to like try and like play football with us right now. So, especially with Dybala, did he make the bench? I guess he's fit enough for the bench. He's been their conduit for everything that they do well. So, I don't know if Mount, his industry is going to be required as much as we're going to need to be quick and accurate with our passes in the final third. Like, so we need accurate passes, and I'm not talking about you pass it to somebody and they have to stretch to like collect it and then build attacks. Like the precision and pace of passes has to be spot on in order to break down this back five or whatever. And I think that Tuchel chose who he chose is because he feels like these guys are the ones that can deliver it. We saw a bit of what we saw. We saw a little bit the last game in Leicester when you saw Ziyech and Pulisic connecting, and I'm sure he just wants to see continuity there. They feel that they have a bit of like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, someone got some feedback.
Yeah, somebody got a feedback. I'm not sure who, but I think it's fine now.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to Mount, like I just put it to form. He's just not in good form right now. I haven't really been impressed with him the last couple of games he's played. And I think when you look at the three that are in there right now, I wouldn't say anybody's in a set position in this front three. I think you're going to see an extremely fluid front three. All three of these guys are going to be moving around the pitch. You'll see this probably be where they start, but you'll see Ziyech go to the left. You'll see Cho go to the right. You'll see Pulisic go to the left, Cho go to the middle. I think you'll see like a ton of movement out of these front three in this game. Which is exciting. Lukaku is on the bench, so I do hope that he gets a few minutes in this game, just to try to get himself back into game shape a bit. But I think you'll see tons and tons of movement from this three. You could even see Ziyech slide in behind those two and try to play balls into the two of those guys. But I think every time Pulisic has come on this year, he's looked extremely sharp. Looked very threatening, scored a goal last game. Callum's been playing really well. So for me, it's just kind of a form thing with Mount. There's really no need to try to force him out there if he's not playing well.
Agreed.
I think if the placement is correct on my screen, I think I really do like Pulisic there because he always gets into the box and his runs into the box are very well timed. That if you can pick him up, he will always be at the right place and at the right time to put away the chances. And it's a good thing to have Ziyech here. But the question is, Ziyech needs spaces to whip in those passes with his left foot. But if these guys if they defend deep, then we have a problem. And I don't know how we're going to tackle that. If we start this game and they defend as deep as they defended in the first leg, then we have a problem because the spacing behind this net is nowhere to be found on that day. Practically, we didn't see any space behind their defenders. So if that is the case today, how is the Ziyech going? How is he going to operate? How is he going to? I mean, is he going to be useful still? That's my concern. I would have preferred somebody like.
This is why I thought he could play, is because of the of his ability to find like through balls and whatnot. Is that me?
Yeah.
Is that on my end?
I don't think so. It keeps going in and out.
Yeah, I muted before.
Yeah, I feel like that's why you play him, because he's on a wavelength with Pulisic right now. He knows how to play those through balls, those silky passes just in behind. And this is what I was saying earlier. It's just what we're going to rely on today. It's not going to be space in behind. It's spaces in between the defenders. Like, we have to be able to play through balls and play them accurately, quickly. And what you need in that situation is you need guys that are on the same wavelength, that understand what we're trying to do, that move into the spaces that are available to them with the same sort of, like, you have to be on the same wavelength as like Ziyech. Pulisic seems to be that way right now. Cho is definitely a guy that has his heads up and looks all the time. If you play anybody else in there, I think that the moves just slow down, and that little split seconds that we need to play that through ball, they're just going to be gone. It's not going to be an easy game. Don't get it twisted. Like, the fact that and they will defend deep. It's not going to be an easy game because we're not going to be able to just like rely on our pace to get in behind. We're just going to have to rely on our ability to like technically eviscerate them, play in the half spaces and try and like find passing angles to get in behind. But I don't think this is going to be an easy game because
isn't anyone concerned that we, like, you guys will recognize what they're going to sit deep, and I think they're going to sit deep, and that we got three wingers as front forwards trying to crack a deep Juventus. So when we're talking about the team selection, I think the team picked itself. I don't think Tuchel picked this to be the team that unlocked. I don't. Maybe there's something up with Mount and Lukaku and Werner aren't ready. and this is what you're left with. I don't think he had much of a choice.
Right.
Well, I mean, Mount started last game. He just didn't play well. I don't. Maybe with Werner, there might be a little bit of that. You don't want to rush him right out off a hamstring. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you why I think these front three could be successful against Juventus. I think Dennis is right. Like, they're going to sit back, but I think when you're not, I don't think they're going to press Ziyech, which I think will be a big benefit to him, because when he has space is when he does his magic. They'll sit back, but I don't think they'll press him. So I think there will be moments in the game where he has time on the ball. I mean, his assist at the weekend, he was standing basically by himself, so he had all day to pick a pass out. And then what you do is, there might not be space in behind, but you're going to be sending Pulisic and Cho on runs from everywhere. So it's not going to be as predictable as like, oh, well, Pulisic is just going to be trying to get in behind the center back. He might be coming from the right. He might be coming from the left. He might be coming through the middle. And they're just it's going to be up to Ziyech to sort of unlock one of them. But I think you'll see the two of them, and especially the fullbacks or the wingbacks, Chilwell and James, you'll see them overlapping quite a bit, I think, in this team. And maybe overlapping on the inside as well. So cuts from the inside, while Cho and Ziyech may go wider, and James and Chile can come in the middle. And you're just going to be bombing that back 4 or 5, trying to find space and keep them on their toes. There's not going to be a lot of man marking from Juventus. They're just going to try to rely on their shape. And if you can catch them off balance and keep them guessing, I think that's where you could be successful.
My view on it, Josh, is that you're right that we're going to be reliant on Ziyech, and that's probably my biggest issue. I think that the biggest players are going to be Chile and James in this game, and the front three. So it's basically, I think Ziyech is going to, like last time, he hang a bit deep, but the last one was so over reliant. He had shots over the bar, he lost the ball a lot, and if we get that Ziyech, we're doomed today. But
did he play in the first Juve game?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I think Romelu's got some minutes in him today too. So if things aren't going good in the first half, and we have to look to make a change, I don't think he'll hesitate to try Lukaku or Werner. Or both.
Hoping, I really wish we had Havertz this game, because I think we would have done a lot better. They actually shut down Lukaku last time, and they know how to do it from last time.
And that's the reason I don't have a problem with Lukaku starting on the bench.
Yeah,
that's the reason. Yeah, because the truth is.
Yeah, I was gonna quickly just finish.
I think you and I talked about this. Yeah, I think mixing it up is fine, but I think you and I talked about this during the last show. They say numbers don't lie, and in the absence of Lukaku and Timo Werner, we've created more chances. We've even scored more goals, and our attack looked more fluid in the absence. So I wouldn't even, and Tuchel himself, he's happy that happened, because he said he's happy that the team is doing well in the absence of Lukaku and Timo Werner or something like that. So it just looks at, again, I don't want to start the argument whether Lukaku whether he's created more problems for us or whether he's solved problems for us. But the truth is, we've done better in his absence, and I wouldn't bring him into this game. And you did make a point. Juventus shut him down completely in the first leg.
I don't necessarily buy into that, because I think that a lot of the reasons why we were unable to break down Juventus was the fact that we had wingbacks on the pitch that aren't really the same type of wings. We played with Alonso and Azpilicueta that game. Yep. As soon as we brought on Chilwell and Reece James, the game changed. It wasn't Lukaku. It was the actual. We weren't building any attacks. We didn't use the width of the pitch well. So,
but that's another point.
Everything that I've seen so far with Lukaku, it's got to be predicated with the fact that the system only works if we have the proper wingbacks on the pitch. If you're not going to give him the same sort of servicing that we've been getting from the last 3, 4, 5 games, then you can't expect.
Here's the thing, Dennis. How about the Premier League games that we played in his absence and the one we played with him involved? Look at the differences between the games. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, he's a fine player.
When have we played with him with the wingbacks? We've not played with him with those
We've done that.
But Catch, that's part of the problem, though. Because the problem is that it's just the wing backs and the service that was getting him. It was the fact that we looked out for Lukaku. So when you only have one avenue and one person you got to look for, Juventus found it very easy to shut him down.
I'm really I want to revisit this when Lukaku's back and we have these wing backs, because even if you look at his touches, the guy doesn't even get any touches in the final third. Like you guys are talking about, like we're looking for him. How are we looking for him and he's not getting the ball?
Right. I think I've been interested to see Lukaku with two attacking players with him, like a Cho and Pulisic next to him. We haven't seen that either. So I am interested to see what that'll look like. I'm not going to jump too much on Lukaku right now. I think he's had sort of a bit of, kind of a personnel issue with his early performances. I got a bit of a laugh yesterday when everyone found out Havertz wasn't playing, and they were like, "Oh man, what are we going to do? We don't have Havertz." And I'm just laughing. I'm like, all I've been reading for the past 4 weeks is how much people hate Havertz. Like, and now everyone's crying he's not going to be playing. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of truth, I think, to what you're saying, Coach. Like, Havertz does provide a certain amount of like movement and flow to the game that does create a certain amount of opportunities. But I think Romelu can do very similar things. In fact, I think he's definitely a better goal scorer than Havertz. To me, I don't really think he's a number 9. Like he can do that. I still don't think he feels that's where he plays best. But when everyone's healthy, I'm with Dennis here in the fact that I'd revisit Lukaku after he's had some games with the current setup that we're in. I think it'd be you get a bit more of a fair sample size, please.
Now we're talking science. Now, okay. No, here's the thing, Josh. Here's the thing: sample size or no sample size, but that is a great point. You give him time, and then when he's played enough games, then we'll look at it. But from what we've seen so far, it just seems as if whenever he's on the pitch, everything has to go through him, literally. You get my point now. So I'm not saying, like, again, I have to establish it before people say I'm hating on him. I'm not by any means saying he's a bad player. He's a good player. I'm just saying let me just put it this way. It just seems as if it hasn't gelled. It hasn't gelled because you look at it, they say numbers don't lie. Eye test also. We seem to play better. We seem to have played better in his absence, more fluid. We move to the ball very well, rotate how the players switch positions. That is something you could argue he can't do that. He plays differently. We must adjust the way we play to accommodate him, to get him firing the way he did at Inter Milan. If not, we'll still have issues where we play games with him on the pitch, and then we create less chances than we've done before. That is just my argument. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and numbers don't lie, and the games we played also speaks volumes on how he's changed the way we play and how it is important that, I don't know how we have to adjust the way we play for him to get fired in the way he did at Inter Milan. But that's, by the way, if anybody else have something else to say about that, let's talk about the midfield. If not, let's talk about the midfield.
I want to add on what I was saying with Couch before. It does come down to which game as well. Like, I agree with what you said. Like, there'll be some games I actually want to seek out, want the wing backs to find Lukaku. You know what I mean? Because if I'm confident, I feel that Lukaku can best these defenders, even though when they're trying, right? That's what you want. You just want to get it in there, get the ball, and he's going to best them. But when we verse some better defenders, and today you're going to see some of the best, they shut him down. They shut him down when he was Inter Milan as well. They're very good at that, and I think that's part of the issue, that we don't have a plan B with Lukaku. So when with Havertz, the whole front three, when Havertz plays, the whole three change, right? So you can see Havertz out wide, someone else in the middle, and they're hard to defend. So they can't really pick a player and pinpoint it like they do for Lukaku, and that's what makes it harder for the defenders to do. So it depends which game we play.
Well, that's like, when it comes to the midfield, Coach, like that's sort of my argument for Ruben, like the eye test argument. Like when I watch us play, when Ruben is in the midfield, it just feels different. Like I feel like we play more aggressive. We're more attacking. He gets much deeper than any of our other midfielders, aside from maybe Kovacic can take on guys and get deep as well. But like I just when I watch us play with Ruben, I enjoy the football a little bit more for whatever reason, and it's not really a shot at like George or Conte. I mean, they're both obviously world class, but like for me, I prefer when he's in the game for whatever reason. I was really disappointed to see he didn't get the start today, but you know,
because when a chance drops, you know it's going to go in. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. During that first leg against Juventus, we had issues even progressing the ball until we introduced Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I mean, even Chichi Eze, who is in the chat right now, will argue that I have an agenda for Ruben, but that's not the case. Nothing changed until Ruben came on against Juventus in that first leg, and yet he's not starting today. He made a difference that same day. You recall that quite well, I believe, Declan. So why leave him on the bench?
That's what we've been talking about. I think that's a fitness thing. I think it's like what we said. They're our strongest ones, yeah. So we got to start.
Yes.
I think that's how we feel. I even thought that the players that were out might force a 5 in the middle with Loftus-Cheek. I thought that could be an option just because of how many players were out and not fit. And if you didn't want to start Ziyech, and that would be your only option. He's going to have to play a part, like we said last time. I think he's going to have to play a part.
Yeah, playing a part is we don't want it to be. Is it okay? You feel fine leaving it late when we start struggling before we bring him in. I hope that's not the case. Maybe Tuchel himself has found a more effective way to approach this game, or maybe he's trained, with these guys to implement a particular, tactics to deal with Juventus. But it just doesn't make sense how after the whole thing, what we went through that day. And he came on and made a great change. That has made a difference for us on that day. He is on the bench today. You get my point?
Yes,
yeah, I get it. What do you think about this comment on the screen? Yeah, I know you saw that. What do you think about the comment?
Yeah, they are. It's not that it's safer. That is our best two, right? So we're assuming that Juventus is going to sit back, but Juventus could come out at us. They could press us hard. They could really put some of the pressure on that some of the teams have done in the past. And so you need Kante showed his intensity, and you need Jorginho to distribute the ball from the back especially. So where do you throw Loftus-Cheek? Who do you take off for Loftus-Cheek? Who would you take off?
Yeah, I know you were going to come back to me with a counter question. But here's the thing, Declan. Now, you talked about something playing like 5 in the midfield or so. There must be a way to accommodate him. Believe me, I'd rather have him on the. I think it's a difficult one, really, but still, I think we're better off finding a way, to include Ruben in this game. Because the way he drives with the ball, it doesn't matter how many defenders you have or how deep you defend. So that's why, honestly, you beat me with this question. Who do I take off? Jorginho is pivotal to helping us keep the ball, to helping us control the tempo of the game, to helping us still progress the ball under pressure. But he really doesn't progress the ball quite well when you press him aggressively. I know you've noticed that yourself. But Ruben, even with 4 or 5 players coming at him, he still dribbles his way out. And he's physical too.
Okay, can I ask you this?
Yes.
Can I ask you? Start of the season, yeah? Who was our best player for, I don't know, the first 5 games, maybe even more?
Who's been our best player?
Yeah.
Honestly, you could argue there's an argument for Jorginho for that.
No, Kovacic was our best player at the start.
Yeah, in his absence, if you ask me.
Yeah, in his absence. So Kovac was playing the best, right? And there's no room for Kovacic as well. We could be getting, he had a little setback, but we could be getting that informed Kovacic right now too. And why can't we squeeze him in the same question? Like right now, I think it's hard to tell who plays because right now I think Loftus-Cheek is the third rank. So as soon as one of those are out, Loftus-Cheek is in, and Kovacic has fallen. I mean what I'm saying is the same argument could be made for why can't we squeeze Kovacic in this team, and then why don't you squeeze Loftus-Cheek as well? You can have 4 midfielders. So end of the day, this is our best too. In when we play the hardest teams, I'm sure Conte, Jorginho is always going to be starting.
Okay, let me ask this. Yeah, I don't. Let me ask you this again, Declan. How about ball progression? Are you comfortable with Jorginho there? How well do you think? Would you say he's done when opponents press us aggressively or when they pressure him? Because that seems to be the case whenever he's on the pitch. Teams like Juventus or they just target him because they know he's pivotal to the way we play. And once you target him like that, 2-3 players on him, he starts struggling. So are you not concerned about that? Don't you think? And they know him very well. They know that's his weak point. Don't you think they will they'll try to do that to him today?
It's not his weak point. You want players to press him because he's so good at giving that ball and giving it so quickly that you can't press him that hard. You need 1 or 2 players, or you need a good tag, like basically someone tag him the whole time. If you need 2 people to press on Jorginho, you've taken out 2 people out of that game. Once we play out the back, it's very easy after that. So I know some people have said that, yeah, and it's only because there's been a couple of times Jorginho gets caught out like that, but majority of the time they got nothing on Jorginho. He gives it away so quick. So teams have given up to pressing on Jorginho. And if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have to. You need 2. You need someone really well, and you need someone committed to it. But even if we don't go through Jorginho, if there's 2 players on Jorginho, there's Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah, James, Chile, and then there's Kante. So there becomes way more options to play out. If we don't even give 1 ball to Jorginho, if they're gonna commit so much on Jorginho, so that's how the whole setup is played, and that's why he's considered the best at what he does.
Yeah, okay. Great argument right there. Let's bring you into this, Josh. We're talking about the midfield. If you recall, during the game against Juventus, the first leg, we literally couldn't do anything until the introduction of Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Barkley. Who else was introduced? I don't recall. So why leave him on the bench in this game? And since we do believe that Juventus will not change the way they play, although some argue that they picked form and they're doing better now. They've won like 3 games in a row and they will look to attack us at home. Do you think that's the case? If that's the case, if you think they will defend deep still, do you think Jorginho is a better option than Ruben Loftus-Cheek?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one for me because I rate Ruben extremely high. I just think he's like very, very dynamic. I think for like everything you say Jorginho can do, I think Ruben can do as well.
Even better, if you ask me.
Yeah. Plus, I would say plus additional attributes.
Even
like
better.
not. Listen,
in some cases, let me just put it that way before Declan starts a fight. In some cases, he can do some stuff. He can progress the ball better than Jorginho. I could argue that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. This is I always get into fights about this because, like, the things that Jorginho does, I don't particularly find them to be unique. And I get a bit, I get a bit of stick for that because obviously over the last like 9 or 10 months, Jorginho's been kind of the guy that's considered, pivotal in our formation and things like that. But I don't particularly find his skill set to be unique or like hard to come by. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys who can do what he does, if I'm being perfectly honest. I would have Ruben in my team. I would have him in my team. I don't know how else to put that. Now, whether it's Ruben and Conte or George and Ruben or Ruben and Kovacic, like like you could pick your combination, but for me, he would be in my team for the skill sets that he has. He's big, he can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot, he can defend, he's good in set pieces. I think that's really hard to come by, and I think we'll probably see him today at some point, especially if the game is sort of kind of dead at the half, and you see that there really isn't a need for like an N'Golo Kante in this game. I think you'll see him come on. But I'm right there with you, Coach. Like for me, and because I try to say this without sliding the other players, because obviously I think N'Golo Kante is one of the best players in all of the world football. So like he's probably on the pitch for me too. I don't think we've seen that yet. Jorginho or Loftus-Cheek and Kante. I don't know if we've seen that combination yet this year. But yeah, I mean, for me, he's in my team. If you're asking me, put him with whoever you want, but I think he's in my team. I love what he does as a player.
Okay, the Declan touched a point. That's a great explanation there, and I am with you on that one. And Declan, sorry, you're alone this time.
I've been laughing. I was laughing at Josh going, yeah, I can't even see what he does.
Yeah,
Declan touched the point. Go ahead.
I understand. Like, listen, Jorginho, yeah, he's good against the press, but like I think there's a lot of players. Like I think Kovacic is good against the press. I think there's a lot of guys who are good against the press. I don't particularly think he picks out any crazy passes. He's good at getting the ball off his feet. I mean, if that's a unique skill set, then yeah, he's good at like quickly getting the ball to like a wing back or back to a center back.
No, but Jorginho has the capabilities of picking those passes, but Tuchel wants to play a different way. So when you said, yeah, I know a whole bunch of players are good at at the press, getting pressed, but Jorginho is at best at that. I think that's why it makes him so unique. And when you play a system around someone so reliant on the ball to move it, and also, and he's constantly telling everyone else where to go to move it. So he wants to move it so quick, and he's pointing and to get the ball moving so quick. When you're the best, and when you don't know where to go, right? It's like something remind me of when I think Matic said it, and I think other players used to say when they didn't know where to go, they used to just give it to Hazard. When they didn't know, just give it to Hazard, and then he'll make something happen. When they didn't know where to pass the ball, just give it to Hazard. Same thing here. When players don't really know where to go, give it to Jorginho, and that's how much of the importance is. Now, you probably only notice it when he stops playing, when he's out of the team. Then you start to see the difference. And
no, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not questioning his importance to the team and how he plays and how his style of plays. After all, he's a defined register. That's his job, is to help the team keep the ball, control the tempo of the game or not, and he does that exceptionally well. But my argument is that I'd rather have Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the pitch because of the impact he made when he came on against Juventus in the first leg. And Jorginho, who played nearly the whole, as long as he played in that game, didn't have much of an impact. So, but that's by the way, Declan. Let's talk about something that you did mention before we moved to started talking about the two players. Had Kovacic been fit, would you accommodate him in this game? If you say yes, who would you leave out?
No, I wouldn't. You still start with these two. The point I was going to make, just like before, you throw Loftus-Cheek in. I like Loftus-Cheek, right? And you guys like him for the extra attacking threat that he's going to give, right?
Yeah, and ball progression.
So, but when you look at this team, how many players do you commit? Because what we do is Chile and Reece James is part of the attack, the front three. So we got 5 in attack, right? 5 behind. So that's the balance of the team we've been playing since Tuchel came in. Now, when you throw Loftus-Cheek and hope he's going to be a more attacking player, well, you're actually committing quite a bit. So we commit Kante at times because he can run up and down. Jorginho can't. So once Kante is the person that goes up, right, then you have 4 behind. So depending on the game and how much they commit and how much we need the goal, is when you start to commit players. And who do you commit? Whether it's, you take off Jorginho. So in a game like this, Jorginho might have to go out and Loftus-Cheek comes in, right, to give the man the extra attack. But in this case, I think it would be Kante, and Jorginho always stays back to keep the play from the back. So I got distracted by Man United's goal.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree.
Get
I
the
do
flow
agree with you
going.
that if he
Yes.
takes a midfielder off in this game, it'll be Conte most likely. Yeah, I mean, I understand your point too with putting too many people forward, but I think when we've seen Ruben play this year, like, we haven't suffered defensively when he's played. I mean, not that I've noticed. In fact, I think he's made some great tackles when he's been in there.
Yeah. So where
it's
I
a
was
hard
getting at, Josh. Yeah, you got to compare. You're not comparing with Jorginho. You're actually comparing Loftus-Cheek with Kante. And who do you start? A direct comparison on them two, and who would you start?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if I put him in my team, it would be probably next to Jorginho. But see, I think it's kind of game dependent for me. Like, what side are you playing? Like, if we're playing like a City or United or Liverpool, I'd want N'Golo Kante to start those games, because I feel like that's where his strong skill set really comes into play. He can take out players in games like that. But in these kinds of games, like even at our last Premier League game, I would probably prefer Ruben Loftus-Cheek in those kinds of games, just because I think those games require, and of course N'Golo scores in the game. I say I would prefer him not be in, but yeah, just for me, I don't know. It's kind of just it's kind of just an issue with circumstances, right? We only play 2 midfielders, so somebody gets the short end of the stick. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Agreement, Josh. That's why I'm in agreement. Like, if we are playing the good teams, you do want Kante, the harder teams. And then when we play, well, Leicester was a bit hard. I probably gave Leicester a bit more credit, but they didn't turn up. They haven't been turning up.
Me too.
Yeah, and then when you verse other teams, you want Loftus-Cheek. When you play a team that's going to sit more deeper, you want Loftus-Cheek, which is kind of mixed feeling today. Juventus is a good team, but the way they're going to approach this game is like we're versing someone lower in the EPL,
Right.
and that's the weird feeling about it. Is, well, we're versing a good team, we want Kante, but then if they're going to sit back deep, well, I want Loftus-Cheek. So that's where I think, as the game gets
exactly. That's what I argue. Go ahead, Declan. That's what I'm arguing.
Yeah. So like I said, there's no guarantee that they're going to sit back. Juventus could really press on us at the start, right, and really play for the first half an hour, and try to get an early goal. They might actually approach like that. So this is maybe a conservative kind of lineup, especially when you got Ziyech, Cho, and Pulisic. Right, that's the other biggest factor too that we didn't mention. So if Mount is there, Mount actually helps in the midfield, and that's when you can play Loftus-Cheek a bit more. But when you got Ziyech to do that role, right, which is most likely what's going to happen, then that causes another massive issue, especially against Juventus. So that's why Loftus-Cheek might not even get a game until Mount comes on. So then you can take Kante for Loftus-Cheek. So it depends how we go. And then if we get an early goal, maybe Loftus-Cheek doesn't even see a game.
Yeah,
or see any time.
That's fair too. Yeah. I would have rather seen him in this game and N'Golo in the United game at the weekend.
Yeah, great argument right there. Declan, let's use this comment on the screen that says, also, maybe let's move to the right-hand side. Let's not just, move to the right-hand side, the right wing back, and also the right center-back. This comment that says from Almighty Blues FC, Ankit, my very good friend, says, also, maybe the contract talks are affecting Christensen. I guess Tuchel thinks that way. What do you think about that?
Well, if that was the case, Rudiger wouldn't be playing, would he? Almighty?
But it depends. People handle things differently. In this case, you could say Christensen he's younger, right? Maybe, like I said, That may be the case if you ask me. You don't think that's the case?
No, I think because there was also reports that it was done as well. They're just going to announce it. There's also that as well. So, he's one's closer to being done, and I'm sure Chelsea are closer to meeting his demand than Rudiger's. I'm more on the belief that the rotation is less because Christensen's the only backup to Silva, right? And that's the same with Aspie, James, and Alonso. These are the three positions we only have one backup for. We get two injuries in the same position. We don't really have anyone else to play or anyone versatile to play. Like, imagine we have to play Cho, right wing back, for a certain amount of games. How that would be. And who do you play left wing back if Alonso and Chile is out?
See my argument right now. We're talking about, okay, let's talk about, like we said, let's talk about the right-hand side where you have James and Chalobah. Now, those are both are 22s, right?
Years old, yeah.
Okay, around that number, and that age bracket, hopefully we're correct. So now, we lack experience there. And are you concerned? Do you think they're fine? Do you think against a team like Juventus that they will both do well?
James, no problem, because even though he's young, James has proved well, and James is going to be more a part of the attack than actually defending. It's Chalobah that I was worried about. I actually thought Aspie would play there, just for the brains, and if he's versing someone like Chiesa on that side or Dalaba, like how they're switching sides, then I was concerned about Chalobah there. That's why I thought Aspie would actually play there in the right centre back role. But Chalobah also brings speed. He's physical and speed.
He brings speed,
and he can run all day. So maybe with the help of like Silva next to him, maybe he could do a better job. So there is some advantages to that, where I thought Aspie would play.
Okay, so let's talk about let's move to talking about the leadership in the team. I think this is not the correct one, but I saw this response here. I'm not sure what staff was responding to. Was it this? Says Ankit Silva and Rudiger are the real leaders. Do you agree to that? Leaving out somebody like Cesar Azpilicueta?
I think I'll count Jorginho in there too.
Yeah, Jorginho is a leader we know, but let's talk about the argument is how about somebody like Cesar Azpilicueta? Isn't he? Do you count him as a real leader in the team?
Of course, yeah. He's been our captain for a while too. So, he's not the oldest player, but he's probably the second oldest player. He's been our captain for a while. He's the leader. Silva's a natural leader, and so is Rudiger and Jorginho. And this is what's making our team. This is making our team click because we have so many young players, and those four names I just mentioned. And maybe you can throw Mendy in there too. I think Mendy is a bit of a leader too. So we have a very good core base of players being a leader. And you know what, mate? I'm not sure how Lukaku too is, but Lukaku should be one too. Maybe with time it'll come out. That is, it'll come out front, right?
Yeah, just because great argument right there. Go ahead.
There's such an age gap, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Lukaku should be, and like you argued, maybe gradually he'll be coming into his place and start showing his leadership qualities because it's this is gradually it just as the era of Lampard and Drogba where you have leadership all over the pitch. You know, in the post we had Petr Cech. In the defense we had Terry. In the midfield we had Lampard. All the big names who are natural leaders. And in the attacking area, I think you could say that's the only place we lack leadership a bit right now. Maybe that will change as Lukaku starts to gel with the team. But right now, in his absence, we just have, let's say, like we have Cho, Ziyech, and Pulisic there. I think none of them you could say possesses that leadership quality to help cheering all the players there, or maybe some inputs that will make a difference. So, but that's by the way. Overall, Declan, what do you think? What kind of a game are you expecting today?
Like we were talking about before, I think I'm expecting to see Juventus. They don't have to play for a win, so I expect them to sit deep, right? They could surprise me, sit deep, and I hate to say it, but I think Ziyech Cho Pulisic combo. I think they might struggle against a team sitting deep. I mean, when we had this combo towards the end of Leicester, and we were already winning, and Leicester were trying, were trying to get a goal back, and they're very exposed, and they had Pulisic and they had a field day, and Leicester's defense are terrible at the moment. So they look like they had a field day. I think it's going to be a um, very different game for them. What I am hoping, what comes with that advantage, having those three players, I think there's going to be so much movement. Pulisic and Cho are so good on the ball, right? I think we're heavily reliant on Chile and James today, and maybe a set piece, which has been good for us. But it's funny saying that we were so heavily reliant on wing backs today.
Yeah, I think I had this discussion with Anki. That was it in his match review, and I told him I expect them. Something like he was saying that he doesn't think that they will sit deep. He thinks that they will come out all guns blazing because they done well lately. They've won 3 games in a row, but I still do believe that actually that they will defend deep because right now it matters to them. They'd like to top the table. They don't want to risk it. They know we'll have some good attacking. We'll have a good attacking players that can do some damage against them. And that's where the question of why, I don't want to start rambling or start talking about Ruben Loftus-Cheek not being on the pitch again. And yeah, because I've talked about it for like 4 consecutive pre-game shows, questioning, like Anki did say in the comment, what does he have to do to start a game? Because he offers something different. But that's, by the way. Now, at what point do you think Ruben will come in? If you think he's going to play a part in this game?
I think, like I said, that maybe he can't come in with that front three. So maybe they're going to include Mount or maybe Lukaku. But maybe you got to throw in Mount before you throw in Loftus-Cheek. But there's no point of going all guns blazing too, because we don't want to lose by a big margin as well.
So it's a risk too, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tuchel even mentioned that. Did he say, I'm not going to throw the keeper up because it wasn't, it's not a must win. So he'll take a draw if we need, we're not going to throw the kitchen sink at getting a win if we need to. So, like I said, we'll go, but we do have 5 subs, so I expect him to play. But I think, like how I said, I think maybe Mount has to come on before he does, because we'll be very exposed. But we might be actually desperate. So if we are desperate chasing a goal, and Tuchel does that, then he'll take off Kante for Loftus-Cheek, plus have Ziyech and Pulisic and Cho, which will leave us light at the back. Which they caught us last time, if you remember. So that's how you got to look at it too. Making this argument, we got caught on the counters, which we need Kante for. Kante was great at breaking down their counters and their play intensity, second balls, all of them. So we're going to lose that if you throw Loftus-Cheek in there. So as much as I want to see him play, but the other thing that I said about 5 in the middle, playing 3 midfielders, it didn't work for us last time, but it didn't work with Kovacic. I mean, maybe in the future we could see Loftus-Cheek in there, and maybe it does work. And also, I also think that Loftus-Cheek can probably do what Mount does, maybe way more advanced. Something used to see a bit more when he played on the Sarri, where how he's just around the box, and I think maybe he can do that. And I actually thought he would play that. I thought that Loftus-Cheek could get in the team earlier going through there rather than playing as a 6, but he proved me wrong there. So you don't have to worry. Loftus-Cheek's going to play. I know you want him to play every game, but
No,
he's
I'm not
eventually going
worried.
to
I'm
play.
just making. If you ask me, I'm just making. It's the argument. My argument is very clear for everybody to see because he's done quite well whenever he gets on the pitch. So, on a final note, Declan, before we go into the score prediction and round off, so that everybody can go watch the game, why do you think we considered that long goal against Juventus in Italy that day? How? What would you say happened? Is it just loss of concentration, or how would you put it?
Yeah, they were sleeping because it was right on the kickoff.
Wow, that was embarrassing.
It was Aspilicueta, yeah, I think, and it was embarrassing from his side, and he got beaten. It was, yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was a one ball concentration. I don't think they expected it, but yeah, I think Josh brought it up before too. We do have different wing backs. I think we have a pretty different team than we played last time. So I think it's going to be quite interesting because if you compare the two teams, we do have a lot of different players. Yeah, I don't think Kante played that day, did he?
I don't remember the lineup that day. I don't think he played.
It would be great.
I think he was. I think it was Jorginho. I think it was Jorginho. It was Jorginho Kovacic, I think.
Yeah, it would be great to look at. I'm pretty sure if you look at both the lineups, I think they were very different that day, and so it's going to be an interesting. We should expect a very different game.
Yeah. To round off the club, what do you think the result is going to be today?
5-0.
Sorry.
5-0.
5-0 Chelsea.
Yeah. And
okay.
You know what? I think because there's also a factor that we because it's based on head to head, we actually need more than 1-0, or even more than 2. So I actually think if we get a goal or 2, we actually might go for the 3 goals and beat them by 3-0.
Okay, hopefully for me, I think it's gonna be it's gonna end 2-1 Chelsea. I think they're gonna score. I think we will score 2 goals and beat them. And if the result is otherwise, if they don't score against us and we win like by 3 goals, I'll take it. But this is what I think the result will be. So everybody, thank you very much to everybody in the chat. It's a pleasure having you guys providing more value to the stream, and also Declared, my friend and my brother. I appreciate you finding time to be here. So again, I will see you guys in the next pregame show, and I hope you guys find time to participate. See you all next time. Cheers.